The media storms rise, governments scramble, and exchanges freeze withdrawals as fear ripples through the crypto world.
March 23, 2022, at 6:18 p.m. UTC, a silent digital detonation tears through the blockchain. Inside a dim apartment in Pyongyang, the glow of multiple monitors paints a young man's face in cold blue light. His expression doesn't change, no triumph, no fear, just the steady gaze of someone executing a mission. A few keystrokes later, $620 million vanish into a network of shadow wallets. A children's game built to bring joy, robbed by a government hunting for nuclear funding. No alarms, no gunfire, no blood, just silence. And then, panic. Thousands of miles away, in Vietnam, servers blink red. Developers at Sky Mavis stare in disbelief at an empty ledger. The bridge connecting the gaming world of Axie Infinity to the Ethereum blockchain has been drained, its vault emptied in minutes. In the following days, disbelief turns to dread. One of the largest crypto heists in history has just occurred, and the fingerprints point to one of the most secretive cyberwar units on Earth. But who are the ghosts behind the keyboard? And how did a video game about digital pets become the front line of a global cyberwar? Before the hack, there was the dream. Axie Infinity wasn't just a game, it was an economy, a digital universe where millions of players, many in developing nations, earned a living by breeding and battling colorful NFT creatures called Axies. It was hope disguised as entertainment, a chance for ordinary people to escape poverty through play. The company behind it, Sky Mavis, was a Vietnamese startup that had achieved the impossible, a decentralized economy worth billions. In 2021, Axie Infinity peaked at over $4 billion in valuation, boasting more active users than most mainstream games combined. Its bridge, the Ronin network, was the lifeline that connected it to Ethereum, allowing users to deposit and withdraw real money seamlessly. But every bridge, no matter how golden, has a weak point. While Sky Mavis raced to scale, North Korea's Lazarus group, a cybercrime unit operating under the Reconnaissance General Bureau, was watching. Formed in the 2000s, Lazarus was more than a hacker collective. It was a weapon of the state. After years of sanctions that crippled Pyongyang's economy, the regime turned to cyber warfare as a new source of currency. They didn't just steal for greed, they stole for survival. By 2021, Lazarus had already pulled off some of the boldest digital robberies in history. The Bangladesh bank heist of 2016, $81 million, and the Sony Pictures attack of 2014, a retaliation cloaked as chaos. Now, their sights were set on crypto, a frontier with no borders, no extraditions, and no guardrails. And somewhere deep in that network of sanctioned servers, an operation began to unfold. One that would exploit a simple mistake in trust, an unguarded key left behind, and turn the world's most popular blockchain game into an international crime scene. It started, as most catastrophes do, with something small. Months before the heist, the Lazarus group began weaving a digital web of deception. They posed as recruiters, investors, and even blockchain engineers, slipping into conversations with Sky Mavis employees through LinkedIn and encrypted chats. One of them sent what appeared to be a legitimate job offer, a sleek PDF filled with numbers, projections, and false promises. The moment that file was opened, the infection began. Malware embedded inside the document silently infiltrated the developer's computer. It mapped the network, stole credentials, and quietly escalated privileges. Day after day, it watched, learned, and waited. The attackers moved with surgical precision, never triggering alarms, never moving too fast. By early 2022, they had obtained the keys to the kingdom. Literally. The Ronin network was secured by 9 validators, servers responsible for approving transactions. To authorize withdrawals, 5 out of 9 needed to sign off. But Sky Mavis had made a shortcut months earlier, during a surge in user growth, a temporary arrangement that allowed 4 internal validators and 1 external partner to process transactions automatically. It was meant to be efficient. It became their undoing. Lazarus gained access to those keys, one by one, until they controlled 5. On March 23rd, they initiated withdrawals that appeared completely legitimate. No one noticed. No alarms went off. In just 2 transactions, 173,600 ETH and 25.5 million USDC flowed out, worth roughly $620 million at the time. The money moved into wallets disguised within a labyrinth of blockchain addresses. No passwords cracked, no servers destroyed, just human trust exploited with elegance. For 6 days, no one even realized the vault was empty. Then, on March 29th, a user tried to withdraw 5,000 ETH and couldn't. The system froze. Engineers scrambled, tracing lines of code, cross-checking ledgers, until one developer whispered the words that would ripple across the crypto world. It's gone. The bridge that powered a billion-dollar gaming empire had been drained to zero. And halfway across the world, the Lazarus operatives were already laundering the loot through mixers, DeFi protocols, and false identities, turning stolen code into real currency. When the numbers surfaced, disbelief turned into chaos. $620 million gone, as if evaporated into the ether. In the offices of Sky Mavis in Ho Chi Minh City, the air was thick with panic. Monitors glowed with transaction hashes, engineers tracing digital trails like detectives at a crime scene. Every second, the stolen funds were moving, splitting, bouncing, fracturing into thousands of fragments across the blockchain. On social media, the news hit like a bomb. Axie Infinity hacked, hundreds of millions missing. Panic spread among players who had poured their savings into the game. Some had bought homes, paid medical bills, even built businesses from their Axie earnings. Now their digital economy was gone overnight. Governments took notice. The FBI's cyber division opened an investigation, tracing the money trail through blockchain analytics firms like Chainalysis and Elliptic. But Lazarus didn't move like ordinary criminals. They moved like ghosts with state resources, disciplined timing, and an entire apparatus of fake identities and laundering tools at their disposal. Within weeks, U.S. authorities linked the attack to 2 specific Ethereum wallets tied to North Korean cyber units. Then came the long process of laundering hundreds of smaller transactions passed through Tornado Cash, a mixing protocol designed to obscure origins. Tornado would later be sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury for its role in this and other North Korean operations. Behind closed doors, the global cybersecurity community began to understand the scale of what they were up against. This wasn't just theft. It was economic warfare. Because every dollar stolen by Lazarus wasn't just profit, it was funding. Fuel for North Korea's nuclear weapons program, their missile tests, and their survival under crippling sanctions. Axie Infinity's developers scrambled to reassure players. They promised to reimburse users, rebuild the bridge, and harden security. But even as they spoke to the press, blockchain forensics showed the stolen funds already fragmenting into thousands of new wallets, bouncing across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. It was like chasing smoke. The FBI eventually seized a small fraction of the funds, around $30 million, but the rest vanished into the anonymity of decentralized finance. The heist had done more than steal money. It had shattered faith. Faith in crypto's promise of freedom. Faith in technology's promise of security. And yet, for Lazarus, it was just another mission accomplished. In the aftermath, the silence was deafening. Axie Infinity's bustling digital economy, once valued in the billions, collapsed almost overnight. Players who had once called the game a pathway to freedom now called it a trap. On forums, small investors posted screenshots of empty wallets. Some confessed they had sold motorcycles, jewelry, even land to join the digital gold rush. And now, nothing. The developers at Sky Mavis faced a public reckoning. They hadn't just lost money, they had lost trust. Within days, their flagship token, AXS, plummeted nearly 30%. Trading volumes shrank. The Ronin bridge remained offline for months, and the world that had once celebrated blockchain as the new frontier of prosperity now stared at it as a battlefield. Governments moved swiftly. The U.S. Treasury officially sanctioned the Lazarus-linked wallets in April 2022, freezing whatever assets could still be found. Exchanges were ordered to block those addresses, but Lazarus had already converted much of the loot swapping, mixing, and cycling funds through decentralized protocols faster than law enforcement could adapt. The message was clear. In a borderless financial system, national law was powerless. Meanwhile, in the underground markets of Pyongyang, life went on. The Lazarus Group wasn't driven by greed. Their mission was survival. Under the weight of global sanctions, cybercrime had become North Korea's lifeline. Each successful heist banks, crypto exchanges, ransomware poured millions into the regime's hidden coffers. Intelligence reports later revealed how the stolen crypto had been converted into fiat currencies through Asia-based brokers. Some of it, UN, investigators claimed, was funneled into ballistic missile development. But for Sky Mavis, the question wasn't political, it was personal. How do you rebuild trust when your system, your code, your bridge to the world has been weaponized against you? The company raised funds, promised full reimbursement to affected players, and strengthened their security infrastructure with audits, multi-sig keys, and layered authentication. By late 2022, the Ronin bridge reopened, rebuilt, resecured, reborn from digital ashes. Yet the scars remained. Axie Infinity never fully recovered to its former glory. What had once been a revolutionary idea, play-to-earn gaming, now became a cautionary tale. Investors whispered new words: regulation, oversight, accountability. The heist had changed everything, not just for one company or one game, but for the entire crypto industry. In every boardroom and Discord server, one question now lingered like a haunting echo. If Lazarus could steal from them, who's next? In the months that followed, the digital battlefield shifted. Hackers and defenders alike studied the Ronin incident like generals dissecting a lost war. The blockchain world learned a brutal truth. Decentralization does not mean invincibility. For years, the crypto community had worn that word like armor, believing that by spreading control across many nodes, they could eliminate human error, corruption, and weakness. But the Lazarus group didn't attack the code. They attacked people. They exploited trust, habits, shortcuts, the human cracks that technology could never patch. Cybersecurity experts began to see the pattern everywhere. Every bridge, every exchange, every DeFi protocol was built not just on algorithms, but on assumptions that users would be careful, that validators would be honest, that employees would never click a poisoned file. The Axie hack shattered that illusion. Governments responded with new urgency. The US and its allies issued joint advisories naming Lazarus, APT-38, and Blue Norov, North Korean state-backed hacking units, responsible for over $3 billion in stolen assets between 2017 and 2023. Crypto mixers like Tornado Cash were sanctioned. Exchanges were forced to strengthen KYC protocols and blockchain surveillance. For North Korea, the Lazarus group became a digital ghost army. They stole with the precision of soldiers and vanished with the silence of diplomats. No borders, no bullets, no fingerprints. And in that cold, quiet efficiency, they revealed a deeper, more unsettling truth. The next world war might not begin with bombs or soldiers, but with lines of code and a click of a mouse. Yet amidst the darkness, there was a glimmer of resilience. Axie's team didn't disappear. They faced their mistakes head-on, compensating victims, rebuilding systems, and speaking publicly about what went wrong. Their recovery became a case study in humility and transparency, a reminder that innovation, no matter how daring, must always walk hand in hand with security. By the end of 2023, the blockchain industry had changed. Bridges were rebuilt with stronger validators, redundant signers, and constant audits. But the fear remained an invisible scar across the metaverse. Because even as technology evolves, one constant remains. Where there is value, there will be a thief. And somewhere, beyond the reach of law, behind a wall of encrypted fire and ideology, the Lazarus group is already watching, waiting, preparing for the next vault to empty.